So it was about 20 years ago that I came across this problem-solving framework, and I've been using it on almost every project I've been a part of since, and it works 100% of the time. This clip is a bite-sized learning snippet that comes from a recent episode of the What Do You Know to Be True podcast, where I'm normally the host. But in this conversation, my friend April McCormick takes the reins and interviews me. My podcast conversations explore how ordinary people use their extraordinary talent or superpower to make meaningful impact in the world. The talent I talk about is finding or creating simple frameworks to boost clarity and performance amongst teams. And since teams solve problems all the time, having an effective and repeatable problem-solving model is such an accelerator for higher productivity. Drop a comment and let us know if you found this model to be helpful or if you have a question about it. And if you have your own problem-solving framework that works really well for you, I'd love to hear about it. Okay, enjoy the episode. But like when I got my project management professional certification, I'd been doing project management enough that I'm sitting there and just calling BS on all the stuff I had to say that I knew to pass the exam and become certified, and then realized, oh no, that's not how you're supposed to do it. Case in point.
That's not how it works in the real world. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got certified in 2003, which, you know, it's been a minute. But at that point in time, the PMP asked, oh, what do you do when something goes wrong? And the response is you document the corrective actions you take. Oh, so you go fix it and you write down what you did. That's not helping me. That's not helping me solve problems. Just write down what I decided what to do. And so I got really curious about, okay, how do you do problem solving? And at that time I was working for a consulting firm with 500 consultants. And I thought, oh, you know, all we do every day is solve problems. There's gotta be someone here that has a framework. Heck, there's probably like 3 or 4 people that have a repeatable framework that they use every time to solve a problem. At that time, I was the project management solution lead for the firm. And I was putting on monthly workshops where we were adding new skills to everyone's toolkit. So I had put in a newsletter the request for, hey, you guys are solving problems all the time. What's a framework you use? I'd love to put together a workshop where we like do a survey of 2 or 3 of these methodologies, and then you can pick which one you want to use. You know, that thing goes out on a Friday afternoon. And when I turned on the laptop on Monday, I was hoping for, you know, a great response rate, much better than what I actually did receive, which was 0. I got bageled on it. No one responded. So then I thought, okay, I'm going to ask a dozen consultants that I know who do this really well. I'm going to send them individual emails because that's going to, you know, it's harder to hide when you send the individual email. And I got 3 people to respond back. So that's a much better response rate. But 2 people said they make it up as they go every time. And then 1 person wrote about 5,000 words. And to this day, I never read what they said, because if it's 5,000 words, it ain't repeatable. So then I go on the interwebs and I type in problem solving process, and I get this creative problem solving process trademarked 1956 by Dr. Sidney Parnes and Alex Osborn. And Alex Osborn is one of these Madison Avenue madmen who is also is attributed with creating brainstorming. And this process, this problem-solving process, 6 steps of how do you go about solving a problem. And the first step is identifying what does good look like at the end. When you've solved this, what does good look like? In their language is objective finding. The second step is fact finding. What's all the data we know about this problem? The third step is problem finding, which we also refer to as writing down what's the problem statement, which how many times do we start off with what the problem statement is at the very beginning?
I don't even think we do that half the time. We're usually trying to solve it before we even understand the problem.
For sure. And the pitfalls that we run into when we try to do problem solving, the first one is we jump to conclusions. The second one is we solve for symptoms and not roots. And then the third is if you're looking at it from this angle and I'm looking at it from this angle, we're seeing things differently and we don't share that. But if we follow just these first 3 steps of what does good look like, the second of what do we know about this, and we get to share those perspectives. So we have a 360 view of the problem. And then what's the problem we're trying to solve? And we all agree to that. We can't run into those pitfalls. The fourth one is brainstorming. Thank you, Alex Osborn. The fourth one is picking. Cool. The fifth one is implement and validate. There's 6 ones, sorry. So like 6 simple steps. To this day, when I'm coming up with whether I'm writing proposals for projects or building out schedules, I follow those same 6 steps. And I love sharing that one because most of us don't have a framework for problem solving. Most of us do jump to conclusions. I think what's really happening is we get a solution that solves a problem, and then we think a lot of other problems fit that same initial problem, and they don't. And we haven't spent the time to validate that it will or it won't.